Check one, check two, check three, check one.
Ask the family to come and be seated on the chairs, please.
Are you guys going to need something?
I do not think so.
Any of your brothers? Let me just check. Let me just ask. David, are you guys
I wasn't.
No problem.
Was someone?
No, no, I just wanted to ask. Are your brothers around any of you guys? I got it all. That's fine. Yeah, I got you. What ended up being two? No, 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 I got you.
We're about to begin our service. If I could ask everyone to please take a moment to turn your cell phone to their silent mode before we begin. Conducting our service today is Rabbi Andrea Koznowski.
So I'm going to have Nikki and Brad stand up. We're going to say the blessing for Kriya. For hearts that are torn, we offer this blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, dayan ha'emet. The music of this life has ended, and the final chord has been played. Yet the symphony continues even after death. Its melodies filling our memories. Beauty in life, harmony of love and friendship remain ours to savor. Energetic tempos of youth blend into stately rhythms of age, leaving their mark on the passage of time. Recalling moments of haunting beauty, as well as measures of discord and pain, we pause quietly, remembering. For one, a final note has sounded, yet we hear the melody lilting, lingering. The music flows, guiding us to create our own symphony. Let us treasure the time we have and resolve to use it well, counting each moment precious, a chance to apprehend some truth, to experience some beauty, to conquer some evil, to relieve some suffering, to love and to be loved, to achieve something of lasting worth. Help us, God, to fulfill the promise that is in each of us, and so to conduct ourselves that generations hence it will be true to say of us that the world is better because for a brief space they lived in it. This is a mother's parable by Temple Bailey. The young mother set her foot on the path of life. "Is the way long?" she asked, and her guide said, "Yes, and the way is hard, and you will be old before you reach the end of it, but the end will be better than the beginning." But the young mother was happy, and she would not believe that anything could be better than these years. So she played with her children, gathered flowers for them along the way, and the sun shone on them, and life was good. And the young mother cried, "Nothing will ever be lovelier than this." Then night came with a storm, and the path was dark, and the children shook with fear and cold, and the mother drew them close and covered them with her mantle. And the children said, "O mother, we are not afraid, for you are near, and no harm can come." And the mother said, "This is better than the brightest of days, for I have taught my children courage. Next, I will give them strength." And the next day came strange clouds that darkened the earth, clouds of war and hate and evil. And the children groped and stumbled, and the mother said, "Look up. Lift your eyes to the light." And the children looked and saw above the clouds an everlasting glory, and it guided them beyond the darkness. And that night the mother said, "This is the best day of all, for I have shown my children God." And the days went on, and the months and the years, and the mother grew old, and she was small and bent, but her children were strong and tall and walked with courage. And when the way was hard, they helped their mother. And the mother said, "I have reached the end of my journey, and now I know that the end is better than the beginning, because my children can walk alone, and their children after them." And the children said, "You will always walk with us, mother, even when you have gone through the gates." And they stood and watched her as she went on alone. And the gates closed after her, and they said, "We cannot see her, but she is with us. A mother like ours is more than a memory. She is a living presence." These words come from the book of Proverbs, Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. A woman of valor who can find? She is more precious than rubies. Her husband places his trust in her and profits only thereby. She seeks out wool and flax and cheerfully does the work of her hands. She opens her hands to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She has no fear of the snow, for all her household is dressed in fine clothing. She is robed in strength and dignity, and she smiles at the future. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and a lesson of kindness is on her tongue. She looks after the conduct of her household and never tastes the bread of laziness. Her children rise up and make her happy. Give her credit for the fruit of her labors, and let her achievements praise her. Grace is elusive and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears God, she shall be praised. Many women have excelled, but you excel them all. We gather here today because someone we loved is no longer. Marlene's death leaves a space in the lives of the people who loved her, a space that can't simply be filled. When a person comes into our world, they come as a singular soul, completely unique, and through their life they leave an imprint on everyone around them. Marlene did that in ways both big and small. Through her humor, her intelligence, her devotion to family, and the deep relationships she built over the course of her life. Knowing that death is part of life does not make this moment easier. When someone who has walked beside us for decades is gone, Our hearts feel the absence immediately. Words cannot fix that kind of loss, but words are how we begin to remember, to honor, and to hold one another through grief. And so we begin with the people who meant the world to her, to Brad and to Nikki. Losing a mother changes something deep inside us, and there's nothing quite like losing a mother, the person who stood at the center of family for so many years. But I hope that you'll take comfort in knowing just how much you meant to her. Being a mother was not simply one role, it was among many for her, and it was the role she cherished most in her life. You were the lights in her life. She believed in you completely, encouraged you to become fully yourselves, and loved you with everything she had. And to David and Eric, Marlene was deeply grateful that Jerry and Nikki found partners as kind and steady and devoted as you. You didn't simply marry into the family, you became a part of its very fabric. You cared for Marlene, supported her daughters with love and constancy, and helped create the warm family life that meant so much to her. And, of course, you gave her one of the greatest gifts of all, her grandchildren. So I say to her grandchildren, Jordan, Hannah, Nathan, Brendan, Matthew, and Ryan, if her children were the center of her world, you were the sparkle that filled it with joy. It wasn't only the cookies or the pistachio cake. It was the presence that she brought into your lives. Brendan, in your bar mitzvah speech, you thanked her for cheering you on at every Little League game. And Matthew, you thanked her for taking you to so many fun places. Those small memories say something enormous about who your Grammy was, that she showed up again and again with love and enthusiasm and with delight in all of you. She adored you truly. And then life gave Marlene yet another extraordinary blessing, the gift of her great-grandchildren, Nama and Tamar. To see another generation beginning and to know that her family would continue forward brought her such joy, such deep naches. There's something profoundly beautiful about knowing that the love that we pour into our families continues long after we are gone, and Marlene understood that. She understood that she would live on not only in memory, but in the stories, the values, and the laughter, in the recipes and traditions, and in the lives of the generations still unfolding before us. Before I give my eulogy, is there anyone here that would care to say a few words about their memories of Marlene? Well, we're gathered together to remember Marlene Posner. And when you listen to this carefully to the stories of her life, one truth becomes very clear. Marlene was someone who kept showing up for the people she loved. That may sound simple, but it's not simple at all because life was not especially easy for her. She was divorced young, raising children while trying to make ends meet financially, balancing motherhood and work and responsibility. She worried about money. She was careful and frugal because she had to be. But even in difficult circumstances, she built a life with warmth, learning, humor, friendship, and devotion to family. She grew up on the north side of Chicago and graduated from Von Steuben High School. She began college at the University of Michigan studying education, but after visiting friends at the University of Illinois and seeing everyone having a lot more fun there, she transferred schools, which tells you something delightful about her personality. She eventually earned both her bachelor's degree and later her master's degree from Indiana University, Bloomington, and spent 30 years teaching English and working as a reading specialist in Indianapolis public schools. And apparently she had unmistakable teacher handwriting. Words mattered to Marlene. She loved books, book clubs, conversation with good friends, playing bridge, learning. Even later in life, despite growing physical limitations, her mind remained sharp and engaged with the world around her. But what stands out even more than her intelligence was her resilience. For much of her adult life, Marlene lived with tremendous physical pain. Mobility became harder and harder. Eventually, she relied on a scooter to get around. But the remarkable thing is that she did not allow pain to become the defining feature of her life. Nikki shared with me a story that captures her spirit. The family would go to the zoo together, and even if Marlene could only sit on a bench while everyone else was walking around, she still wanted to go. She wanted to be there. She wanted to be a part of the laughter, the movement, and the togetherness. She didn't need to be the center of attention. She simply wanted to remain connected to the people that she loved. And she loved being a grandmother. Her grandchildren each had their own special relationship with her. She spoiled them happily. She would come to visit, or they would go to visit her for a few days at a time, and she would take them to the theater and to hibachi dinners, where many of them first learned to love steak and lobster. And then there were the traditions that now feel almost sacred in their familiarities. Heinemann's pistachio cake at birthdays, her famous chocolate chip cookies, huge batches frozen away for holidays, except of course when her children kept sneaking into the freezer and eating them before the guests came over. Even now, the family still keeps cookies in the freezer, and somehow in that small ritual, Marlene remains present. She also understood the importance of friendship in a way many people never do. Marlene had friends that she's had since kindergarten. Couples, club friends, sorority sisters, friendships that stretched across decades and even in her entire life. Every April 18th on her birthday, the phone would ring with calls from people who had loved her for over 60, 70, sometimes nearly 80 years. Nikki shared that as they went through Marlene's recent phone calls to let people know of her passing, they realized she had spoken to many of these women just within the last couple of weeks, and now they're devastated. And how profound that is, to reach the end of one's life still surrounded by people who feel your absence so deeply. And these friendships were not casual. They were enduring, loyal, sustained through marriages, children, illnesses, moves, losses, and even aging. When her best friend and sorority sister Audrey Shiner died, Audrey's children continued visiting Marlene because somehow she helped fill part of the emptiness left behind by their mother's absence. And that says something about the role that she played in people's lives. Even at Story Point, Naperville, where she lived in recent years, she didn't retreat from life. She became an ambassador, serving on the resident council. She remained engaged with people and community. And today, residents and friends from Story Point are live streaming this funeral, and some hope to travel together afterward because she mattered there too. Judaism remained deeply important to her throughout her life. She was so proud watching her grandchildren stand on the bima at their bar mitzvah ceremonies, and she understood what it meant to carry tradition and family forward from one generation to the next. And seeing great-grandchildren enter the world brought her enormous joy. In Jewish tradition, we often speak about legacy, but legacy is not built through grand public moments. More often it is built quietly through consistency, encouragement, birthday cakes, freezer cookies, cheering at Little League games, phone calls, bridge games, book clubs, friendships, being the president of your residence, and friendships that lasted a lifetime, through showing up at the zoo even when you're in pain. And that was Marlene's greatness, not having an easy life, but having endurance, being warm, having presence, humor, learning, and love that continued giving even when life was difficult. Zichrona livracha, may her memory forever remain a blessing, woven into the lives of all of us who loved her. Adonai natan va'Adonai lakach, yehi shem Adonai mevorach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. If you have your program, I'm going to ask you to open to the second page and help recite the 23rd Psalm with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside the still waters. You restore my soul. You guide me in straight paths for your name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. At the rising of the sun and at its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of the autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. And when we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. For as long as we live, they too will live, for they now are a part of us, as we remember them. I'm going to wait to do the El Male Rachamim. We'll do that right before we do the Mourner's Kaddish. But at this point, I'm going to ask that we lower her and take a moment of silence for meditation and prayer.
second.
Do we do this? Brad and Nikki.
We're going to place some earth from Israel into the grave. We can't all be buried in the land of Israel, but some of Israel can be buried with us.
In a moment, we're going to rise while I chant the El Malay Rachamim and we say the Mourner's Kaddish together, after which I'm going to invite all who care to do so to participate in a Jewish ritual of respect and love where we bury our loved ones. The custom is to take the shovel and to place 3 measures of earth into the grave. In Judaism, 3 is the number of intention. You can do something once by accident, twice, okay, it's a mistake. But 3, we intend to do it, albeit reluctantly. Some choose to use the underside of the shovel to place the measures of earth into the grave. There's no wrong way to do it. It's just whatever is your custom. You don't have to be Jewish to participate in this ritual. We lovingly invite you, but in order for you not to feel coerced, we aren't supposed to hand the shovel to the person behind us. Now, if you do, I'm not going to talk about you at the Shiva, but we can just put the shovel back on the pile or leave it there, or if you hand it, that's okay. And then when everyone who cares to is finished, we can return to our cars or we can stay. Bill and I will stay for the full burial, but you will be free to go. And so if you are comfortably able to do so at this time, I'm going to ask you to please rise. El male rachamim, shochen bamrumim, hametzei mechuna nechona, tachat kanfei hashchina, im kedoshim, utahorim kezor harakia, mazhirim. Et nishmat Malka Rezel bat Nachum v'Chana shehalacha le'olama be'al harachamim yasdireha b'seter kenafav le'olamim vayitzror bitzror hachayim et mishmata Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. Compassionate Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Marlene Pines Posner, who has entered eternity. Eternal Spirit, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. Peace is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us say together, Amen. Again, I'm going to draw your attention to our program, and if you would care to join me in reciting Kaddish Atom, the Mourner's Kaddish, it can be found on the back of the program. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agalal uv'izman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach, leolam ulmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to those that are bereaved among us, as we say together, Amen.
Those of you who will be participating in the burial, we'll ask that you please be very mindful of your footing when you approach the grave. And if you have balance issues, perhaps let someone else participate for you. There is a shovel on the other side of the mound. If you would like, you can use that as well. Folks, there is a second shovel on the other side. If you'd like to participate, two people can participate at the same time.
Those who care to help us bury Marlene Posner, please feel free to step forward.
It's a love fest. That's really things we're coming.
Rabbi, I got it.
Right here. I'm so happy.
Thank you so much.
So much.
I know. This is so
So That's such a gift. Such a reminder. So I'll write you what I always think you smell. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yes. Yeah, is that her son?
The family will be returning to the Posner residence at 2315 Kingsley Court in Naperville. They will begin Shiva around 2 o'clock and conclude at 6 p.m. today.
I know you're right.
Oh no.
My sunglasses, my purse is in your apartment.
Sunglasses work for you. But a scoop more dirt with you.
I feel like I scooped more dirt than I did at any of the funerals. My family funeral.
Yeah. Or you're wearing heels still.
Yeah, these are my funeral heels.
So you almost. I
almost fell in.
Yeah, you almost fell in. Really?
Because it was cicada season, so I was really scared, and so I was trying to
They
go
were
really fast.
everywhere. It was like, you know the scene in 300 with the arrows? It was like that, but cicadas.
And I'm really scared of cicadas.
The cicadas.
That was the time when everybody had this to go.
Anybody else got a headache?
No, you drink water though?
That was really nice.
Mom's got
Enough of that.
she's got water, stuff in the trunk. She's got water, she's got snacks.
Did I ever met you?
I don't know if you
Or is she fiance now?
Anna, have you ever met Uncle Eric?
I think met before, I think.
Probably.
Times.
You guys are in town for such short times.
I haven't been in contact in a while.
Well, there was, one time when you were
Funeral. So we said,
My grandparents make that.
I know.
So
Cicada season and freezing ass January. February?
In just a moment, the gentlemen from the
Jan.
cemetery are going to use the equipment to complete the burial. If you would like to remain, you may do so. If you find this disturbing in any way, we would suggest that you return to your cars at this time. Our services here are now concluded. Thank you.
He's trying to make the teeners.
You keep up the
it's just
Oh, you've never met about it. She'll be at the house.
how's your mom doing?
Comes and goes, right? Same as both of
John and my sisters all send their condolences.
Thank you. Yeah. Both of you guys had a bunch of unrelated crazy shit happen the weeks your parents died, right?
Yeah. I don't know if you notice it more because you're focused on
Oh
one
no,
thing,
there
or
was.
just always,
This was unnoticeable. Both. Well, Biffy had a seizure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Indy has been. Indy has been shitting blood, which thankfully that seems to be resolved as of last night, but
How's Max?
Max was great, other than punching a hole through the screen door to the backyard before an accident. It's like a Looney Tunes. It's really funny too.